Hey guys, what's up? It's Justin, aka Diego, and I could not sleep tonight, so hence the red eyes, and I guess I always look like shit, but now you have, I have, I have an actual reason. But I kind of want to talk about something that I mentioned briefly that a lot of newer tanks probably don't know, and hence these videos are informative videos. So here you go. I wanted to talk about effective health. And I am going to post a small little screenshot of a graph that you guys can use. Effective health, like I mentioned in my videos, it's basically defined as the amount of unmitigated damage you could take before you're dead. Um, Obviously, it's kind of subjective because you don't know what a boss hits for unmitigated because you're always seeing the mitigated values after armor, after your talent reduction and stuff. So um, what what a lot of these theory crafters have done, and mind you, all the stuff that I talk about isn't any of my math, isn't any of my theory crafting. It's just my interpretation of what they have done, and from the sites that I read. But I'm going to post this graph. Basically, what it does is it evaluates armor versus stamina, how much uh, armor gives you in the form of stamina for physical damage reduction. Now, obviously, for fights that have like bleed effects or unmitigated damage or damage that you can't mitigate, like magical damage, which isn't on obviously the armor mitigation pool, um, it it's subjective, and that's what this theory crafting has done. Is it's breaking down how much armor equates into how much stamina just for these fights with physical damage and multiple sources of fights, and how much stamina armor benefits you for fights that have mixed sources of damage. So let me post that right now. And you probably wanted to pause that and go back because it's really short. But basically, it's a graph, and below are numbers and values. And basically, let me pull it up here. Um, what it is for a fight that's completely physical damage based, that has no magical damage whatsoever, no bleed damage, that's unavoidable. Um, Armor is about 11.7%, or not percent, 11.7 armor, I am tired, is equal to one stamina. Um, so one stamina is equal to 11.7. So, I mean, you can kind of use that. Then, obviously, that's a very physical damage fight. And like I said, the only fight that has purely physical damage right now in Icecrown Citadel is Deathbringer Sourfang. But, but, obviously there's mixed sources of damage in a lot of the fights. And what this graph has done is it's broken down how much that armor gives you for these mixed sources of damage. For example, for a fight that has 20% magical damage or unavoidable damage, it might be 20% bleed damage, or 10% bleed damage, 10% magical damage, so on and so forth. Again, these are just numbers just thrown in here for theory crafting. Um, Armor, the effectiveness of armor is reduced by 80%. So, and then a fight that has 30% magical damage, it's reduced by, what is it? It's reduced by 70%, and so on and so forth down the scale. So, you might ask me, hey Diego, how do I know how much physical damage and how much magical damage there is? The best way to tell is through some form of like recount, where you click on, you go to the damage taken, and then you click on your name. It should have a breakdown of the melee and all the other sources. And there are multiple. I don't know if recount in general does it. I think there might be another add-on that does it, but I don't know for sure. But they'll break down what kind of what sources of damage you take. Basically, what I wanted to cover for the effective health is that in Icecrown Citadel, And I like to talk about that because it's it's the end game instance right now. It's what everyone's going to be raiding until Cataclysm comes out. But for all you guys who aren't doing it, don't really pay too much attention to this. But armor is still good. So for all you guys that are like thinking about maybe using an armor trinket over a stam trinket, you have to keep in mind those mixed sources of damage. Stamina is good for everything. Obviously, it won't reduce the amount of physical damage you take, but it helps you take those unavoidable sources a lot better. Like Gormox Impale, who isn't in ICC, or a bunch of other stuff in Icecrown Citadel. Frostbolts from Lady Death Whisperer. There's a bunch of mixed sources of damage all throughout that place. So that's why stamina has been a pretty good stat. But now armor coming around, since you lose a 20% dodge, is becoming more effective because obviously you're avoiding less. So you're going to be taking more damage physically, and armor is going to help reduce it. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say, if this makes any sense, is don't just think that throwing on 10 armor and losing 50 stamina, okay, that's a real extreme case, but don't just think throwing on like 10 or 100 armor and losing 50 stamina is a good trade-off. For the most part, on fights that are with mixed damage, it's not. Even with fights that aren't mixed damage, it's not really a fair trade-off. I can't really think of an instance. If you guys, if some of you seasoned guys who might watch this stuff, which I doubt, I think people who are seasoned kind of just think their heads are a little bit bigger and think they're too good to, I don't need to look up videos on how to tank. Yeah, this guy can't tell me how to tank. I already know too much. But if there are the seasoned veterans out there, let me know. Let me know if you think that there might be a case where putting on just strictly armor, regardless of how much stam you lose or gain. Let me know if you find a case where it's just better to wear just a bunch of armor stuff. So I think that's basically the gist of it. So questions below. One more thing that I did want to talk about is that they are going to change our tier gear, specifically the gloves and the chest. For this reason, a lot of tanks were shying away from the tier stuff because all of the offset stuff had armor on it. So what they're doing with the tier gloves is they are taking off the dodge, and they're equating the dodge itemization into armor. So the gloves are going to have more armor, they're going to have defense and hit. And what they're doing with the chest, which I personally don't like, is they're taking off the defense. And they're leaving the dodge and the parry and your 2 sockets, and they're taking the defense and putting it into armor. So there's going to be no defense, but there's going to be armor, dodge, and parry. Now, I did the math, and I currently have the legs that are crafted without defense and the 3 sockets. And I can't wear the tier chest. I cannot wear the tier chest and those legs and maintain decap, which is vital, obviously, because if I do, I'd be crittable. So that's not good. So I bought the offset badge chest to soft cap myself with expertise. Let me know what you guys think about that, how you feel about them changing the gloves and the chest, if you're going to get them, if you're not. It's posted on MMO Champion, if you know that site. It's MMO-champion.com. But the video's long enough. It's been 9 minutes. I know you guys are probably ADD like me and have already fucking clicked it off and go watch some fucking booties or titties on this fucking YouTube shit. See you guys later. Have a good one.